It was on 11th August 2018 at the Tark Terigam Arena. The first qualification round match of Europa League between Galatasaray and Östersunds FK, a small side from Sweden, has just ended in a bitter loss for the Turkish Giants. The Gala fans were not happy. They were hurling abuses at their own players and the manager. But nobody was ready for what proceeded next. As the gleeful Davids of Sweden were ready to leave the battlefield with their chiv-eyed but smiling figures, the most notorious fan base across Europe rose up and applauded them for their heroics. This probably was the first time and also the only instance that the Galatasaray fans had given any team a standing ovation. And why not? The rise of Östersund FK from fourth tier of Swedish football to the symposium among European heavyweights could evaluate any thrilling drama with the rise of the Phoenix subtext. And who made it possible? An Englishman who, after continuous downfall of his footballing career, took a gamble at a land almost 1634 miles away from Yorkshire, and today he sits as the manager of the most expensive squad of the world, Chelsea FC. Graham Potter is one of the core group of young coaches that are currently prospering in the English Premier League. But unlike Eddie Howe, Mikel Arteta, Scott Parker, Steven Gerrard or Frank Lampard, he never had a stellar career as a footballer in the top division. Rather, he spent most of his career bouncing between the English football pyramid on a constant downward trajectory. It all started at Birmingham City, where Potter, after coming through the ranks, debuted only at the age of 17 in a squad that was fighting for relegation. So after making almost 30 appearances, he was sent out on loan to Wycombe Wanderers, followed by a transfer to Stoke City. In 1996, Potter was signed by Southampton in the Premier League under Graham Souness, where he played only 8 matches. The same year, he got his only international call-up for the England under-21s. But since then, his career never really found its foothold. Difficult 3 years at West Bromwich Albion, where he was loaned for 3 times. Then in the League One for York City, and finally, after being released from Macclesfield Town at the age of 30, Potter called it a day and started looking for an alternative career. He began as a football development manager at the University of Hull, which gave him an opportunity to spend 6 weeks as a technical director for the Ghana women's national team ahead of the 2007 FIFA Women's World Cup in China. 1 year later, Potter joined the Leeds Metropolitan University as the manager of the football team of the institution. Leeds Carnegie, which was then competing in the 7th tier of English football. Potter also took the opportunity to complete master's degree in leadership and management. He had previously graduated from the Open University. Meanwhile, Daniel Kindberg, then director of Östersund FK, a club which was relegated to the 4th tier of Swedish football, was in a hunt for a manager who could make their dream of playing in the top division make reality. So, Graham Jones, the assistant manager of Swansea, proposed him the name of Potter. Kindberg was not fully impressed, but after a few phone calls, he decided to place his bet on him. So Potter, with his wife and his newborn child, packed their bags and landed in Sweden in 2011. With limited resources at his disposal, Potter had a tough job in his hand. He began by scouting a few players from Nike Academy and gave a second chance to some faded out players back from home, whom he met during his university days. Within 2 years, Östersund achieved back-to-back promotion to the second division. In 2015, they clinched promotion to the Allsvenskan, the top tier of Swedish football, by finishing runners-up. In 2017, they won the Svenska Cupen, the Premier Cup competition of Swedish football, and gained entry to the qualification round of Europa League, the second best club competition in Europe.
Upp i Allsvenskan, vinner Svenska Cupen och nu ut i Europa. Det blir nämligen kval till Europa League för Norrlandslaget.
If what Potter did until then was incredible, then what followed was nothing short of a miracle. Östersund FK, a team from Östersund province in Sweden, beat Galatasaray, PAOK to enter in the group stage with Athletic Bilbao and Hertha Berlin. both of which were among the top 5 in their respective leagues. Östersund achieved 4 points against the German side and held Athletic Bilbao 2-2 at their home to finish second in the group on goal difference. In the round of 16, they faced Arsene. It was a homecoming for Potter, and boy, he made it memorable. After a 3-0 defeat at home, Potter's men beat Arsene Wenger's Arsenal 2-1 at the Emirates. The English media finally witnessed the uprising of a person whom they would label most eligible for the England national team 2 years later. The victory against Arsenal attracted numerous plaudits and attention. Among them was Wales outfit Swansea City. After being relegated from the Premier League in 2018, Swansea was looking for a manager who could steer them amidst dire financial ruin yet maintain an attractive brand of football previously set up by Roberto Martinez and Mikel Laudrup. So Potter bid a heartfelt goodbye to Sweden and set sail to his native land. Back on the island, he had a tough task in hand. Swansea was seriously messed up in terms of their finances. So Potter had no choice but to work with a young squad, but he did well enough. Swansea finished 10th in the championship, 9 points behind promotion spot, and took Man City by storm in the FA Cup quarter-final. Until the 75th minute, they were 2 goals up but lost the match 3-2 in the closing moment. Finally, in 2019, the door of the Premier League got opened for Potter as Brighton came on calling. Potter took the job. In his first 2 seasons in charge, Brighton's position wasn't that impressive, but still they managed to achieve their best ever point tally. And finally, in the 2021-22 season, Potter led them to a 10th place finish, the highest ever in Seagulls history. In his 13-year career as a player or what followed as a manager, Potter is yet to achieve any significant success in England. Probably the greatest stage in world football, but that doesn't take away anything from what he had to do in order to reach today's level. Whoever knows English football knows how hard it is for an English manager to rise up to this level, and that's what makes his story much more special. In Sweden, Potter knew he had to bring quality to his side, so he took players like Jamie Hopkart or Curtis Edwards, who were released by English football academies, and made them instrumental in his system. To increase bonding among his players, he used to engage them in performing arts like drama or musicals in the theatre. In Swansea, he developed Oli McBurney, James Rodon or Daniel James into Premier League stars. At Brighton too, players like Leandro Trossard, Tariq Lamptey, Ben White or Alexis McAllister became much more valuable than their potential. Tactically much like his idol and now competitor Pep Guardiola, Potter loves positional football and is famous for his flexibility with formations. That's why each and every player in Brighton ended up playing in more than one position they were accustomed to. But Chelsea is the club where regular success is the minimum expectation. So it will be interesting to see how Potter finds success with so much pressure and expectations. But whatever happens, his journey from non-league to the pinnacle of English football will always cherish the football lovers and the aspiring managers.